Greetings ladies and gentlemen, Zoop here, and today we're going to talk about the Tier 8 Russian Premium Battleship Lenin. This ship is quite similar to the Nelson in appearance, with 3 forward guns and a very short stern. In fact, 75% of the ship appears to be bow. It's interesting that we're getting a premium battleship right off the bat, just as the new Russian battleship line is being launched. I suppose players that want a taste but don't want the grind have a way to acquire a Tier 8 battleship now for Russia, especially if you didn't get the Vladivostok mission. Lenin is not pretty, that's for sure. Only a mother could love her. But looks don't matter if a ship's good, do they? What does Lenin have under the hood? Now just a disclaimer, I'll be referencing the Vladivostok. This is because on paper, the two ships are very similar in many respects, though there are some key differences that are important for you to know. Lenin has 63,000 hit points. It's important that you pay attention to this number because the Vlad has a hit pool of 73,600. That's a pretty significant difference right there. And while I felt like the Vlad could tank well enough, the 63,000 hit points on the Lenin left me not wanting to take damage quite as much as I did in the Vladivostok. Lenin has 3 forward-facing 406mm guns with a range of 18.4 kilometers. This setup is similar to the Izumo and the Nelson. If you like this setup, you'll like the Lenin. The range on the Lenin is also a hair further than the Vladivostok, but not by much. Secondary range is sub 7 without modules, but this is not meant to be a secondary ship. Top speed on the Lenin is 29.9 knots with Sierra mics, with a 13.5 second rudder shift and a turning radius of 840 meters. She seems to turn pretty quick for a ship of her size, which is very nice. Vladivostok turns slower and more sluggish, but does have a top speed of 30.5 knots with Sierra mics. No big difference there either. Concealment on the Lenin is 13.1 kilometers. This might seem good at first, but the Vladivostok has 12.2 kilometer concealment. This 1 kilometer is a big deal, especially for a ship that's meant to fire its guns up closer to the enemy, where it's more accurate. And this leads me to my thoughts on the ship overall. Firstly, I really like the Vladivostok. Lenin is very similar, so there's a lot to like with the Lenin. Unfortunately, aside from the gun setup on the Lenin, there's nothing that really sets it apart from the Vladivostok, in a good way. In fact, I'd say that the sacrifices on the ship are too much and make it a lesser ship than its tech tree sibling. You lose a kilometer of concealment and it's 10,000 hit points. That right there is a big concern to me. And it's not as if the gun setup on the front means you'll be firing all 9 guns at the same time. That third turret will oftentimes not be at a good firing angle because you'll want to show as little of your sides as possible in tier 10 matches. And that's another big issue with the Lenin. In her own tier, she's a lot of fun. However, when you're bottom tiered, it's a lot harder to do good things. I would say the opposite is true of the Vladivostok, and I've had some killer games against the majority of tier 10 ships in her. But this is where that extra 10,000 hit points and better concealment comes into play. On the whole, Lenin can be a fun ship. If you like this turret setup, she might be for you. She's a better armored Nelson. However, I personally am having a hard time recommending her, just because I think the Vladivostok is a better ship. It needs something to set it apart from the Vladivostok, something other than the gun layout. As it stands, she's missing that X factor, and because of that, I'd say grind the Russian battleship line and save your money for a more dynamic Tier 8 premium. Anyhow, let me know if you're interested in this ship in the comments. I'd like to know, and thanks for watching. Zoop out.